How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I got a little one here for you, a nice quick video. I want to cover the Speedway series mill, vertical mill, and drilling machine. It's a little mini mill that they sell at Harbor Freight, and I actually inherited this a few years ago after my grandfather-in-law passed away. I'm just now finally getting it set up and able to use. We've been using it on a few projects here and there. A buddy of mine stopped over and he was wanting to do a little bit of milling of brass on it to square some stock up for some projects he was working on. And I also used it recently here to make some of these brackets for the light bar on my tractor. So it's been really handy, and I just kind of wanted to spend a couple minutes, show you a few of the different items on here, the different features, the travels and such, and whether or not maybe you should consider buying one of these yourself. It's been a really handy little piece of equipment for me, and thus far I'm really looking forward to using it more here in the future. So stick around, we'll check it out right after this. Like always, if you guys enjoy the video, give me that thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel. If you feel so inclined, you want to join the YouTube family, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to help grow the family here and get some more members. And if you want to get notifications when I post more videos like this or anything else that I do, hit that bell and you will get notifications when I post these so you can see them right away. All right, let's get you up here nice and close so you can see kind of some of the specs here. I'll move the guard down here out of the way. So you'll see here is the mini vertical milling and drilling machine by Speedway. It's a Speedway series. Most notably, I've noticed they've been sold at Harbor Freight, but there are other manufacturers and retailers that are selling these. Maybe either rebranded or just something similar to it. So obviously this is just a little hobby tabletop mill. Here in the x-axis, your cross axis in the x, you've got 4 inches. The longitudinal axis in the y, you've got 8.5 inches of travel, and in the vertical axis z, you have 7. So it's not massive, but you've got a little bit there. This machine does take an R8 collet. I've got a few of them over here for the different size cutters. But the biggest thing you need to keep in mind is that the maximum end mill and drill capacity of this machine is a 1/2 inch. Much bigger than that, it'll load up and it'll kill itself and turn this little yellow light here on the side. We found out the hard way. It will do a 1-inch face mill. I haven't really tried that yet, but it does have the spindle speed here of high and low. A max and low gear of 1100 RPMs and a high of 2500 RPMs. It is a 4 to 5 horsepower system, and the voltage on this is 120 volts at 60 hertz. So like I said, here again you'll see the bob made in China. Up here in the motor, it gives you all the specs, what type it is, all that fun jazz, the actual RPM of the motor. On the left here you've got the on light, so we'll go ahead and plug it in here and I'll show you. So the emergency stop here on the side, you have to unlock it so it's active. When that happens, the green light turns on. There's a fuse down here you can replace. On the side here you have your low-high, so high gear all the way in the back, and you pull it forward for low. Make sure it's in gear, before you turn it on. And then if you go ahead and turn it on here, you'll see it's at 1100 RPMs and low. Likewise, put her in high here. Put her back in high. Don't slip off. And then go ahead and turn her on. See how this up and goes. We ran it for a couple hours the other day, pretty much continuous, and there wasn't any problems with it, and it never overheated. So as far as adjustments in the X, Y, and Z, so in Z here you'll have your knob that goes up and down for your large movement, if you're drilling or if you want large adjustment. And then you have a lock here below it, so when you lock that, it doesn't move. Likewise, if you unlock it and push the knob in to where those little gear teeth line up, sorry, gotta get that locked in there. Those are lined up. This little knob here in the front will adjust in thousandths increments. So as you turn the knob, it goes up and down accordingly to what you're trying to do. So for your fine adjustments, if you're adjusting your Z height in small increments, if you're milling or such. Here again, down the bottom, you'll have your stop. Kind of like you would on the mill if you had a quill stop, if you wanted to have your quill extended, and then and go from there. You can move that up and down. So that's a hard stop when you're going up and down. So that's a hard stop. Hit that, won't go any farther. Yep. Here again, it shows you a picture for your normal and fine tuning on the side. On here on the X, there is a graduation marks. A full turn is 60 thousandths of an inch, and there's 1,000 increments around it. It runs nice and smooth back and forth on this ball screw. And then down here is the lock for the X-axis. Same for the Y, same thing. And down here is the lock for the Y-axis. So you can lock each thing out individually. I do have just a kind of a drill press bias on this, and it seems to work well so far. On the front there is an actual scale. Shows you for rough movements, with your little indicator there in the middle pointing to how much travel you've covered. And then the same thing on the Z-axis on this side. There's a little indicator in the scale as well. So kind of some rough movements if you're not using an indicator or something on it. Should also mention on the back here there is a scale, and for angles you loosen it out here in the back, and then you're able to tilt the head at an angle if you're needing to do something with it. So if you're doing a drill holes at an angle or mill an angled surface, you can do that with the mill. So pretty handy. I said multi-purpose unit, and I think it could serve a lot of people well. Obviously it's not the most high-end machine in the world, but for being a little hobby mill slash drilling machine, I think it would fit well in a lot of people's shops for doing metal work, or even trying to do some woodwork and stuff like that. So changing out the collet or the chuck's pretty simple. All you'll need is the little tool that comes with it here, the handle on it. There's a hole in the side right here. You stick that rod in there and you rotate it until it gets in that keyed position, so that when you loosen the nut, it doesn't rotate, it locks in there. See, can't move back and forth. Grab the wrench that comes with it. It's right in, Kyle. You just loosen this top nut. And you do that, obviously it loosens up. And like on a regular mill, or if you're not used to running a mill at all, leave the nut on there, and I can use my little, this is what I made in school. I originally went to school for CNC machining, and I made this in the manual class. A nice little rubber hammer. Hold this loose, give it a little tap, and you can feel the taper break loose. Go ahead and take the nut off. Just come down out of there. So unlike a traditional mill, the drawbar is built into the collet itself, or the drill chuck. Basically it's just a threaded stud here that threads into the back. So you'll unthread that out of here, and you can take the drill chuck out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in a 1/2 inch collet here. So go ahead and thread her back in there a little bit. Then you shove her back up in there. There is a key that lines with this shaft, that lines with the collet for driving it. Push it up in there. So if you want to go ahead and adjust it down a little farther, put the nut back on there with the washer. Bring it back down, and then here I'm gonna put a 1/2 inch cutter in. Choke up on it so you're not getting any deflection, and go ahead and tighten it down. Snug her up. That's how you change out the cutter on it. Pretty simple, no different than really any other manual mill. So let's go ahead and we'll do a little bit of brass cutting here. And I've taken some video before I took out the collet, or took out the drill chuck of it drilling into some aluminum. And here we'll do some 60 thousandths depth cuts on this brass and see how it goes. All right, so I got a set of parallels here. We'll get them set down here in the vise. And we'll do a little bit of cutting on this piece of brass. Just gonna set this piece down in there. And for those of you not familiar with machining, all of the parallels do are just to help keep the raw material or whatever you're working on out of the vise. All right, let's go ahead and do a little cut, and I'm gonna put her in high gear. And this is the Carbide Cutter, so we'll go ahead and bring the material over here. That's the only bad thing about this is there's no unlock. There's no unlock for the travel in X or Y, so you just gotta kind of travel over there by hand. Not a huge deal, but however, if you are something you're looking for, this is not gonna have it. So let's go ahead and bring that down close. Gotta hit my stop, put it down a little further. Alright, so it kind of gives you an idea what it'll do. That was around 65-ish thousandths at a time there on those last two passes. And it's really pretty smooth, and you know, not using any cutting fluid, and our chip load's pretty good. All the heat's going away in the chips, and the cutter's completely cool. So really I'm pretty impressed with this little machine here. Hope you guys found this informative. We'll be doing some more projects with this here in the future, and I'll be recording some of that here so you can enjoy it and see how it goes. But if you're looking into getting one of these machines, so far it seems to be very, very useful. Like I said, I've used it on a handful of projects. It's been very nice to have. It's more than just a drill press. Like I said, you've got a little bit more capabilities here with running, you know, cutters and face mills and such. So let me know if you got any questions on it. Put it down here in the comments below, or if you just have any feedback in general, let me know. This is going to be a handy little device, and we'll be making some more projects here in the future. I do have here next to it the Speedway Series metal lathe that I got too, and we'll probably cover that here in another one. But if you're looking at getting a cheap little, I think this is like right around $699 in net current state here at Harbor Freight. I'd say it's a good investment for that if you're wanting something that's going to do some small milling projects for you, and you know, some drilling and such. So thanks for tuning in, and until next time, this is Kyle signing out.